We're here for the future of our children and our grandchildren, and there may not be a good future if the planet continues to heat. So it's extremely important to me as a mission, what I do every day, and why I am a climate investor.
I spend a lot of time investing in emerging markets. So one of the things that I'm from an emerging market myself, so that was a really important part of my career to do something that I could relate to, and so I spent a number of years investing in sub-Saharan Africa around sustainable outcomes of economic growth and job creation. One of the businesses or type of businesses that we invested into were agriculture and agro-processing. So if you can think about it, these are very poor households in Africa that would sustain themselves growing primary crops like cotton or cassava to sustain themselves. And as we were making those investments, you could see the impact of climate change to their livelihoods. So not only did they contain with poor yields and lack of access to market, but now they have to face changing weather patterns that were impacting really their livelihoods. So the impact of climate change is a real one, obviously, as we can all see, but it has a disproportionate impact on parts of the world that are not equipped to deal with it. So I felt that it was really important for the next stage of my career to do something around climate and to really find technologies to accelerate a transition away from carbon.
I think I've always been really passionate about the climate space, obviously because there's a looming climate crisis, but I think this space in particular, there's such a large, exciting problem to solve, and I like taking a very solutions-forward approach. And it does feel like there's solutions here, right? Not all is lost. There's a lot of technological solutions, financing solutions, information solutions, which is kind of what we're building. And I think that in of itself gives me a lot of energy, where there's a big problem to solve. It unites our entire planet, our entire world. It's not specific to one community or country. We're all kind of living on this thing together. And there's a whole ecosystem of different levers to pull here.
I remember 20 plus years ago when VC first jumped into clean tech, you had venture capitalists who didn't know the difference between a carbohydrate and an electron. And so the investors were naive, the entrepreneurs were new, the access to capital was not fully flushed. Today, those three boxes are now checked. So I'm hopeful that we'll have the right combination of all the stages of capital being there, entrepreneurs who now know how daunting it is and therefore are more prepared to build the right teams to succeed, and then investors like TDK Ventures and investors like us who've been through it now, right? And are going to be better board members, better investors.
I'm optimistic that there are so many people changing their careers and wanting to dedicate it to climate. People who have been successful entrepreneurs and successful company builders, as well as the new grads coming out of the universities and schools. Climate is a big problem, and I think it's now known. Schools are teaching it to children that oceans are full of plastic, and we've done that. We as humans have done that. And so I think there's no longer that required rhetoric to say, hey, climate change exists and there's a problem, and really trying to fight that problem, fight the story, right? It's true, we know it's true, and there's a lot of people trying to fight it, right? And there's a lot of people on board. And I think you need that level of the folks on the legal side, folks on policy, people in marketing, people on the consumer who understand how to scale large oil and gas plans. We need people across all sorts of disciplines to be involved in this fight. And so that gives me a very strong optimism that there are lots of people wanting this to happen.
At the end of the day, I think having that North Star for what you're solving for, having really amazing people that you can do that with, who are way smarter than you, and take the risk to work with you, is what gives me a lot of energy.